Happy Shut Your Ass Up Saturday. You already know the assignment. Pretty simple. Keep the petty on high heat. And if somebody starts talking that silly shit, it's shut your ass up. Petty-luya.
What I'm on here for about is Queen Sheba.
Play that louder now. We don't get to hear it often. Say it louder. I think you are very open-minded about a lot. I think you haven't had an opportunity to experience a conservative relationship. Hold on. And if and when you do, come back and talk to me. Yeah.
What you don't realize is that you don't listen, man.
I don't have to. You're not my daddy.
All right, the fellas. It's time for I Said What I Said Saturdays, right here on Queen Sheba. All right, the fellas. Let's go. Damn.
All right. Welcome. The moment you've all been waiting for. It is Saturday morning. I said what I said. And if you are new to the channel, listen, sit back, relax, and enjoy the ride. And as a matter of fact, if you feel like you need to get out of your seat before we reach cruising altitude, you may do so. We just ask that you hit the link and say what you need to say. Saturday morning, I Said What I Said is an opportunity for the viewers to call in. Listen, this show. I cannot promise you what happens. This is completely different than me covering a news article, a death, or doing investigative reporting. This is just pure entertainment on Saturdays, okay? So you never know what people are going to call in to say. It is unscripted. I thank you all for coming to join us just to kind of let your hair down and say, you know what, let me see what kind of crazy, wacky things are going on over here, because that's exactly what it is. I Said What I Said, the Saturday morning show where you can call in. Listen. Confess, confront, vent, or sound off. Say whatever's on your mind. Maybe you just need to get some things off of your chest prior to opening up your home or traveling for Thanksgiving, for those in-laws that you just do not get along with. Maybe your crazy brother is in town. Nobody knows you are here. Nobody knows it unless you tell them you're here. I'm not going to tell them. This is your opportunity. All you have to do is click the link. When I bring you on stage, you say, hey, this is so-and-so, and you have the floor. We have two rules. The first rule is you cannot take it personal. Let's just say you're at the nail shop or you're getting your hair colored and highlighted, and lo and behold, somebody says your name. You cannot take it personal because it's Saturday. And number two, when you are done, you must say, I said what I said. That's it. That's all. That's how the show goes. We have a good time over here. It is unscripted. I do not know what people are going to say. And hell, maybe somebody's going to call in and fire off on me. I don't know. We just ask that you don't use any derogatory terms. You get what I'm saying? That's it. That's all. But other than that, this one is for you. Let me pin the link in the chat. And before we start to take the callers, now this is not my chance to carry the show. I'm not carrying that portion of the show. It's for you to have a little fun as a viewer. Maybe you have an issue. Maybe the kids didn't clean the house like they're supposed to or make their beds. Hell, maybe your husband is just, you just need to get it off your chest. The HOA is bothering you. You had a bad day at work. I don't know, people. You know your life better than I do, but give me 1 second. Let me pin the link to the chat and we will take it from there. Give me 1 second. And then I have an announcement, okay? I have an announcement and we're going to get into it. So all you have to do is click the link. That's it. That's all. I am not carrying the show today. And then we're going to slide into hot topics, okay? That's how it works. That is how it works. Very easy. Breezy, beautiful cover girl. Here we go. I'm dropping a link. I'm going to pin it to the top of the chat. That's how you call in. Let's see. Give me 1 second. We are pinning the link. I probably should have done this earlier, but here we go. The link has now been posted. If you click it, it will give you access. That's it. That's all. I don't have any gripes today. I don't have anything. And if y'all don't have anything, then we can move on and get on with the show. That's it. That's all. Melanin Blend, thank you. She says, I see you, Queen. Thank you. We appreciate it. All right. Lolo Queen being redefined daily says, Shabbat Shalom family to Miss Gamble. Okay, she's just speaking. Got it. Got it. We're just going to give you a few minutes to call in if you have anything. Y'all not going to work me to death. Y'all are not going to work me to death. My moderator is saying, listen, it's an open call. Feel free to call in. We have our first caller. Well, welcome to Saturday morning. I said Hershey 85. Well, what are you standing on?
Hey, Queen in chat. This is funny for me. I'm standing on, please, anybody who has anything to do with my child's father, please do not call me with the foolishness because I'm going to stir the pot and I'm going to be messy because I'm tired of y'all calling me. He got more than one child's mother. Stop calling me about anything about this man or you're going to get your feelings hurt. I said what I said.
All right. She says she don't want nothing to do with it. She said what she said. Please stop calling her. We got our next caller. Mandy, welcome to Saturday morning. I said what I said. What you standing on?
Hey, Queen. I just wanted to come and say I'm so sick of everybody acting like Wendy, the Osefos. I just don't believe she would do that. They just setting them up. I'm just like, y'all stop it. Y'all know them people did that. And then on the other hand, they got the other, I think it was in Alabama. I seen the Africans trying to jump the black lady. They got her hair braided. I say, now that's exactly how they feel about y'all black women that's in the comments swinging and caping for Wendy Osefo. They don't care nothing about y'all. And I said what I said.
All right. She said what she said. That's Mandy. We have a next caller on the line. We move pretty quick around here. Etha G2G. Welcome to Saturday morning. I said what I said. What are you standing on, Etha?
I'm standing on business. I am here to say Shador Sanders needs our prayers. They're tearing this young man down, and I would love to see him win the game tomorrow against my favorite team, the Oakland Raiders. I said what I said. Thank you.
All right. She said, listen, we're going hard or we're going home. Let's go. We have our next caller, Leo Queen Tony. Welcome to Saturday morning. I said what I said. What are you standing on?
Good morning, good morning. I'm standing on why I text my sister-in-law from Wednesday.
Hold on. Let's pause. You sound very muffled. Let's get that audio adjusted because I want to make sure they hear you.
Could you hear me now?
Yep. Let's do it. Let's do a mic check. Okay. Let's do mic check real quick.
You got me? Let me drop down and call right back in.
Okay, no problem. She's going to drop down and call back. We just had a little bit of audio. It happens sometimes, but this is Saturday morning. I said what I said. The doors are open. Let's get it cracking. This is your opportunity. Nobody knows you're here, and let me tell you why. Let me explain how some of you want to call in, but you're second guessing yourself. Don't second guess yourself. Click the freaking link. Call in. It doesn't have to be about anything personal. It could be about something you've seen in the news. It could be about politics. You just need to get it out your system. You can't talk about it with family. You're not comfortable at work. YouTube pages are like throwing a pea in the ocean. My page is a pea in the ocean. Now go find it. Nobody's going to find you here unless you tell them to come here and click on this particular segment and give them the exact timestamp. Other than that, fire off. Let's go. I said what I said. What you standing on? The lines are open today. The lines are open. Don't wait until I come up for hot topics. I'm not looking for a panel. This is your opportunity to speak boldly and speak free. Let's go. Saturday morning, I said what I said. And if that's it, I will lock up the lines in just a few seconds. Thank you, Desira, out there working hard. She says, continue calling into the palace. We appreciate you. We really do. Thank you. And Linda Gamble, I see you. Listen, where is Toot? Where is Toot? Y'all, make sure you show my moderators some love that are working hard in the chat today for this particular segment. I am going to give it just a few more minutes. Look, I like what they had to say. We had one call in about Shadora Sanders. We had somebody else calling in. I don't want to hear nothing about my child's father. It's not my business. And if you call me, you just may get something. Tammy, welcome to Saturday morning. I said what I said. What do you say?
Well, good morning, Queen. This is the first time I've ever joined a live, so I'm honored to join yours. But I jumped in and you said the sound off, so I am first and foremost hurt by Todd and Kandi. I was hoping that they'd make it, but that's how life goes. As far as Brian McKnight, you gotta let go and let God. That man, ain't nothing gonna come right to that man until he do right by himself and those kids. So I said what I said, and I hope y'all are having a blessed Saturday.
The guy said that last time they went to the Ultimate Club, Carmen was sitting on his lap. When he told me that, I said, oh, hell, I paid double for that.
But at the end of the day, he never got no pictures. He never had, he was telling you a story, Mama.
Well, it could have been a scheme that Todd set up for him to come to you with the bush.
Oh, no. Listen, this is a perfect segue into the show and the hot topics that we have featured here on the thumbnail. But before we do, y'all, today is a day. We are going to storm TikTok. Do you understand what I'm saying? We are going to shake, rattle, and roll, and we're going to head to TikTok after we are done with this live. Listen, you don't have to announce that Melody Cherie is live. We got it. Okay. We're going to go over. We got it. We're going to the live. Melody Cherie is having and hosting a Black Friday sale that's going to blow your mind. Okay. And let me tell you some of the things that you're going to get. Free shipping all throughout the live, period, point blank. You're going to get free shipping. You're also going to receive 10%, which is $10 off of your order for anything that is $50. So when your cart hits 50, listen, do this. Let's work the system. Take $10 off. So if you have a $100 order, split it into two so that you can get $20 off. Free shipping on anything above $30. Okay. She has some new products coming out. I'm going to be the first over there because she has, let me tell you what she has. She has this beautiful skin eczema cream. And I know some of you suffer from eczema and some of you have children that may need this product. So we're going to go to TikTok. She also have cellulite fade jelly. She has vegan and aluminum free. She has deodorants, vegan and aluminum free. So I think she has a vanilla and a rose deodorant. She has a vegan vanilla body elixir. She has some Melody Cherie. Look, she has some extracts, if I remember. So she has that, and she also has some hand sanitizers for my girls and guys who like to travel in style. Okay, we are going over there. We are going to storm the live. That's it. That's all. That's how I'm doing it. I have a lot of things that I need to get. And as a matter of fact, I do have a complaint. I do need the sound off. And I listen to the girl that works at the post office. And y'all, cover your ears. This is a show for adults that keeps stealing my shit when I order from 7th Avenue Beauty. I got you. I have filed a complaint with the postmaster, and I know it's you stealing my stuff because you keep stealing from 7th Avenue Beauty. They do, y'all. Every time, well, most times I order from 7th Avenue Beauty, she steals my products, okay? And they're checking them off as if they're putting them in my mailbox. You are a liar. I went to that post office. I filed a report on your ass, and I am taking it all the way to the postmaster. I don't care. I don't care if you get fired. And I said what I said.
I don't care. I don't care. I said what I said, and I meant what I said.
That's it. That's all. I don't know why she keeps stealing it. They're good products, but I pay a pretty penny. They stole my entire order. I had a $200 order last time. I had that new soap with the lemon in it. I had the oils. My little niece, I gave her a package for graduation. She loved it so much. I re-upped and ordered again. They stole all of my orders. So I'm gonna have to figure something out. And I said what I said. All right. I want to get, before we get into Todd and Brian McKnight, should we get into Brian McKnight first? We're going to save Todd and Kandi for last. Here's the question. Let's get into, you know what? Let's get into this one first. Here we go. We're going to get into the first topic that I discovered. Listen to it very carefully. A woman calls in to John Deloney, and she has a very grave concern about her husband. She found disturbing photos in his phone. Let's talk about it. Let's listen in. Here we go. Let me know when you can see my screen. Give me a 1 in the chat if you can see the screen, and I will hit play. Oh, y'all want to start with Brian McKnight first? Okay, we'll start with Brian McKnight. I'm sorry. They want to go with Brian McKnight. Let's get Brian McKnight queued up. We got it. Are y'all saying Brian McKnight or the lady that found the disturbing photos? We got one for Brian McKnight. Okay, let's go. Brian McKnight it is. I had to switch videos. And while we wait for the video to queue up, tomorrow, don't forget, we have members only Sunday session behind the wall. This is a private. How dare you use your members only? This is a private YouTube segment where we go behind the wall for paid members, and we are going to be talking Thanksgiving menu. So we're going to be back there putting together Thanksgiving menu. So if you come and you need some recipe ideas or you want to give some, we'll be behind the wall tomorrow. Okay, here we go. We're starting off with Brian McKnight.
Our two families are two prominent families in the Black Adventist Church. We both met at the college where I was going. She came, okay. I was a sophomore, she was a freshman. We kind of started dating. The next year she gets pregnant. This is back when shame was a real thing. I know, yep, I get it. She's back home. She tells me she's pregnant and that she's going to get an abortion. Because I'm like, yeah, we should probably do that. You're 18. I'm 20. Why would we? I'm just about to start this whole thing. Maybe this is the route we need to go. And she agrees. I'm like, oh. Dodged a bullet. I'm going out to sign my deal in California. When I leave there and get back to Huntsville, that's when she called me and said, actually, I didn't have the abortion. So now I'm like, I got to tell my mom. My mother, who played the piano and was singing in the choir every week, you know, in the Seventh-day Adventist Church, if your kid has a baby out of wedlock, you no longer can hold any church office. You can't sing up in front. You can't do it. You are held responsible for whatever the kids do. I honored my mother. And I tried to do the right thing with a woman that I hadn't even known a year yet. We got married in September, baby in November. We had sort of an agreement. You handle this part. I'm not changing diapers. I'm 20 years old. This was not what I expected to do. You made this decision. You're going to handle that, and I'm going to handle this. Yeah. When you make that bargain, you say, hey, you're going to take care of this. This is your responsibility. And they say, got it. And you go and you do what you have to do. You're expecting that to be the case. But we don't realize is that people will tell you whatever it is they want to tell you to keep you there until that first argument. Then the real thing starts to come out. But by then, you're looking at your life. You're like, well, and I had this conversation with my mother, like, why did you have me do this? You tried this. It didn't work. Now you got me doing it. Right. It was tough, but I'm already in it. We separated 4 times before we ended up getting divorced. Ultimately, anyway.
How far into the marriage would you say the first separation?
2 years.
Because you were married for what, 13 years?
Yeah, 13.
So why?
Just to give you a little bit of background, Brian McKnight and Julie McKnight were married from 1990 to 2003. They had 2 sons, okay? Let me just say, have 2 sons, Brian Jr. and Nico. Nico lost his battle with colon cancer earlier this year. Julie has alleged that Brian was an abusive husband. He was a neglectful father to their children. And in response to Julie's allegations, Brian sued her for defamation, and they are currently in court. Brian recently sat down with Anton Daniels, whom you see, this is the podcaster right here on the screen, and he publicly stated, my children that I have with that woman were not made out of love. Those were not love children. I didn't love her. I never loved her. And those were not love children. And as a result, this is what you're hearing in real time.
Why not just break off? Why stick it out for 13 years?
For the kids. I was never in love with their mother. I wasn't. They weren't made from love to begin with. And I said this before, and people got so mad, this obligation that just because you lay with somebody now, it's sort of an 18-year sentence of some kind, or beyond that, because it's forever. There's resentment there. But at the same time, you do have these children, and you want to try to do your best to do right by them. If we were never supposed to be together like this in the first place, but we have these children, we both have to do what's right for them. And you're right. What we should have done was just separated for good then.
What's that nail in the coffin that then leads both of you to come to the conclusion that you guys are no longer good together, regardless of whether or not you have kids or not?
I think we always knew we weren't that. She may have been lying to herself if she thought otherwise. For me, when I realized I could parent those boys without her, I could be a good parent. I could be there for them, and I could give them what they needed from me without being married to their mother.
Do you think that the kids were the thing that kept y'all together as long as you were?
Absolutely. Our two families.
Wow. And the reason why I say wow, ladies, are you listening? I need you to listen very carefully. The man said he enjoyed having sexual relations with her. Let me start, and the link is here for those of you that would like to sound off. You have 30 seconds. That's it. I'm going to have to stop you in the middle of 30. You have 30 seconds if you would like to give your take on this interview. Let's keep it to the topic at hand. What are your thoughts regarding this interview? He said, listen, she was 18. I was 20. We both come from prominent families. We are religious people. Her getting pregnant would have shamed my family. My mother was a minister. Director of music, and I was a singer. Her being pregnant would mean that I could not display my godly gift of singing. She was supposed to have an abortion, and she didn't. She tricked me. Fine. We got married. I didn't want to be married to her. I never loved her. I only stayed with her because of the kids. And as a matter of fact, those kids were not love babies. Ladies, are you listening? Yes, I can lay with you, is what he's saying. Yes, I can have sex with you, but I don't love you. Oh, y'all are quiet now. Let me play the beginning one more time. A lot of people are very upset. They feel that his rhetoric is distasteful. It lacks empathy. But the reality of it is, do women sometimes feel like they can change a man? I can make him love me. Eventually, his heart is going to turn. Once he sees how good I am, how dedicated I am, how good of a mother I am, he goes on to say, listen, I don't need her. She produced the children, but I don't need her to be in our lives. I can take the children and I can do just as of a good a job as she. What are your thoughts? Welcome to Saturday morning. I said what I said. We're talking about Brian McKnight. Zeta, what are your thoughts?
I feel as though that he made his bed and he had to lay in it. Um, I understand that he may not have loved her, but he said he's a Bible person, and the Bible said it's better to marry than to burn. So there's consequences. We reap what we sow, pretty much. It's not about how we feel. Once we make poor choices, if we want to redeem ourselves in the eyes of the Lord, we have to do it His way. It's not about what we feel sometimes. It's about what the word says if we're true believers.
So let me ask you this. If you were to break this down to a kindergartner, how would you rephrase that?
I would say that life comes with choices, and pretty much we have to really follow the word if we're true believers because there's consequences to our actions. You can't just do what you want without there being consequences. She didn't trick him. That's just the consequence of you premarital sex.
Oh, wait a
And she
minute.
probably changed her mind. The word convicted her. She made a mistake, and then praying over it, God probably said, bring this child forth.
All right. That's a good point. Thank you for coming up, Zeta. We appreciate your thoughts. Uh-oh. LaDon, welcome to Saturday Morning. I said what I said. What are your thoughts on this Brian McKnight debacle?
Good morning, Queen. I just wish I had more than 30 seconds because he's a piece of work. You know, some things don't need to be said. He is so harsh and cold. He went into that marriage knowing he didn't love her and he was doing it for the wrong reasons. And he's blaming her for falling in love with him. And you know, it's easy for a man to put the responsibility on the woman when they both make a mistake because he could have strapped up too. He could have strapped up too. And once she decided not to, because it's a big decision, you know, and you may feel like you want to do it, but once you get to those doors, and like the caller said before me, she probably prayed on it and God said no, you know, but for him to torture her and to continue to fake it because he thought that's what looked good and then resent her through the whole marriage. Yeah, she caught on too late that he didn't love her, but she probably really did think that it can work. And you said a thing, Queen. Women can't go in thinking they can change a man. When they show you who they are, believe them. We stay too long.
That is awesome. That's a good place to end, LaDon. Very strong feedback. Thank you so much. That's LaDon. Look, feel free to come back up when we move on to the next topic. Listen, making sense to me. Welcome, Lil Miss Tutu, to Saturday Morning. I said what I said. What are your thoughts on this Brian McKnight debacle?
Hey, Queen. Hey, panel. Hey, chat. Queen, I feel as this. First of all, he's just as boring as his concerts. And second of all, how do you equate the love that you have for a wife or a husband as the same love that you will have for your child? Those are two different types of love. And for him to sit there and what we've seen and to be so callous towards his children, his seed, I think something is wrong with him personally. And I hope his ex-wife wins because she deserves it. And his children deserve to see him suffer just a little bit. And that's all I have to say. I said what I said.
All right. Thank you, Lil Miss Tutu. That's my moderator. She came up and she said, listen, I said what I said. And to be very clear, I do believe Brian McKnight, he has another family, y'all. And he went and he took to social media and he said that his stepson is his favorite son. Welcome, Hershey85. What are your thoughts on Brian McKnight?
My thought is his tale is no different than every other church boy in the church. The only thing is he was held accountable just like the girl was held accountable. Because usually it'd be the girl that has to be in front of the church apologizing and get sat down and all like that. I believe that he should have just sat down. He should have just sat down. I'm not finna marry somebody I did. Why would you put her through that? That's crazy. And then now you have a new family, you disowning your children. You just an asshole. And you can't blame that on nobody but yourself. Because this is how long now? Okay. So the church, your mama, your daddy, and all the other ministers and everything don't have nothing to do with your bad choices because you could have strapped up too. Period. He should have just sat down and not just handle the consequences of you not singing in the church no more for a while. Period. And I said what I see.
All right. She said what she said. That's Hershey85. Listen, real quick, I'm going to play the video just a little bit. I want you to hear his disdain regarding her being 18. He enjoyed her body. He enjoyed sleeping with her, but he didn't want the consequences of unprotected sex. And then he leaned on the spirituality and his religious background. He says she knows better. She knows that we come from prominent families. She was supposed to have an abortion. I was 20, I was a rising star, and this would impact me. Let's listen one more time, just to the beginning of his interview.
These are two prominent families in the Black Adventist church. We both met at the college where I was going. She came, I was a sophomore, she was a freshman. We kind of started dating.
Why was he 20 as a sophomore? Okay, I don't know, but let's continue.
The next year she gets pregnant. This is back when shame was a real thing.
I know, yep, I get it.
She's back home. She tells me she's pregnant and that she's going to get an abortion. Because I'm like, yeah, we should probably do that. You're 18. I'm 20. Why would we? I'm just about to start this whole thing.
Did you know you were 20 when you had sex? What age did you think you were?
This is the route we need to go. And she agrees. I'm like, oh, dodged a bullet. I'm going out to sign my deal in California. When I leave there and get back to Huntsville, that's when she calls me and said, actually, I didn't have the abortion. So now I'm like, I got to tell my mom. My mother, who played the piano and was singing in the choir every week, in the Seventh-day Adventist church, if your kid has a baby out of wedlock, you no longer can hold any church office. You can't sing up in front. You can't do it. You are held responsible for whatever the kids do. I honored my mother, and I tried to do the right thing with a woman.
Listen to what he said. Ladies, women, listen to what he says. I love a man that has a positive relationship with his mother. That's a pro in dating. That's a pro in marriage, but it can also be a con if it's not a healthy, balanced relationship between mother and son. In that moment, he said, I honored my mother. Do you feel like his mother maybe had a bad influence on him not accepting his children and not loving his wife and being able to open up his heart to his wife? Because he basically said he never loved her or his children with her. He's saying he hates everything about both his first wives and their children. This man is evil. Whew. Island Girl 18 says, if premarital sex is wrong in their religion, so is abortion. That's a good point. Aqua Queen goes on to say, women are nurturers at heart and soul. So yes, we tend to think we can love people and change them. Is that a huge mistake on the behalf of women who we want women to be soft. We want women to be nurturers. We want women to make a home full of love and comfort and peace. But do women do a good enough job of vetting and knowing when to read the signs? Does she bear any responsibility in the relationship? If there's any men out there in the audience that are tuned in, and if you've been listening to the Brian McKnight that I just played, I have a question. If you're comfortable coming up as a man, okay, you don't have to come on camera. My question to you, and I think a lot of women want to know, how is it that a man can sleep with a woman, marry a woman, have children with a woman, only for her to later find out he doesn't love her? I've never loved you. I don't love you. And actually, I really don't feel like our children were made in love. Let me drop the link. If there's any men that would like to tackle that question, there's no right or wrong, but just to give the women in the audience a little bit more insight into the mind of a man. Whew. Y'all, this happens all the time. It doesn't matter if you're Black, if you're white, poor, or rich. We see men trade in their wives quite often, especially when money is involved. A while back, a friend of mine, this is many years ago, I was dating a guy that was progressing pretty quickly in corporate America. And my friend, who is an HR recruiter, I'll never forget, the friend said, hey, listen, don't be shocked if he gets that role as the VP. Don't be shocked if he changes. And I said, well, why? They went on to explain, often you're never going to find out, or you won't find out the caliber of the man until he gets access to money or gains access to money. So don't be shocked if you notice differences in his personality. I said, okay. If there's any men that are comfortable, I'll give it a few more seconds. If not, we will go on to the next segment. The next segment is a woman calls into the John Deloney show because she found very disturbing photos in her husband's phone. Okay. Tish says, oh my God, that's so true. You don't really know the heart of the man, and we're not coming until he comes into money. That's when you find out. A man's identity is what he does for a living and how much he can contribute to his family by way of being a breadwinner. That's what most men take pride in. Most women, our identity come from being able to establish a very healthy and wholesome home by way of being wives, mothers, aunts, great neighbors. You take a woman's family away, you trigger her. You injure her. You take a man's job away, you take his career away, you trigger him, you injure him. I did a survey question a few years ago, and I started with the men first. I said, if you could be rich versus having a family, what would you choose? About 90% of the men said I would choose to be rich. The next day, I posed the question to the women, but I switched it up. I said, if you could be rich as a woman, you're a dedicated career woman, you're rich, you're powerful, or you have to be a single mother, but you have the children. Most of the women chose to be single with children. That's it. That's all. See, you say you would choose a family. But I made sure to say that there would not be a man in the home. But most women still said, I would love to have children, even if it means not being rich or not having a husband. Is there a disconnect between men and women? Is there a lack of the meeting of the minds? When we come into relationships, are we on the same page? Yes? No. Let's continue to the next topic. Okay, here we go.
My husband and I have been married 9 years. We've had a lot of ups and downs, like most marriages. Earlier this year, I found out he had been looking at pornography. He claimed it wasn't an addiction, but he was doing it multiple times a day. It was affecting his job. He wasn't bringing in income. So we've had a lot going on with that. He started to act disconnected again recently. So I was looking at his laptop and kind of seeing what was going on. Noticed he was like doom scrolling and different things and not working again. I did notice that it was like a click where he was in his email in a photos folder. So when I clicked on it, there was the top email. The subject line was my love. And when I clicked on it, it was luckily me, which I was honestly relieved. But it was photos of me that were taken without my knowledge, almost like what a stalker would take of somebody. I'm either naked or half naked, getting ready in the bathroom, putting on makeup, curling my hair, but the photos are him taking them from our room without, me knowing from a different room. I'm standing in the closet in some of them. And one of the creepiest ones, I have on a tank top and panties, and I'm sleeping, but I'm sleeping on my stomach with my leg kind of propped up, and he's pulled back the covers and was angling the photo in a weird angle. And it's so violating and disgusting for me to see these and they're creepy. And I just don't, A, I want to know if I'm valid for feeling that way. And B, if this has been a repetitive cycle of him doing things like this behind my back, how do I approach this or even attempt to move on? Or
you're not going to like what I'm about to say, okay? But you need to get out of your house as soon as you can. Or he needs to get out of the house as soon as possible. Very unsafe situation you're in. And you listen to my show long enough, I rarely say what I'm saying right now. Every one of your concerns and deep fears is 100% valid. The level of violation is so grotesque. And I don't want to stoke your fears, but I'm just going to be honest. Is that okay?
Yeah, of course.
I don't know where he's posting those pictures. I don't know who he's giving those pictures to. I don't know who he's selling those pictures to. I don't know what he's doing with that stuff. And you don't either.
My husband and I have been married.
Woo! Wow. For a man to say you need to get out of your house right now, basically indicating you're in danger. So for those of you that are just tuned in, she called into the show, and her husband is basically stalking her in the home without her knowing. He's taking naked pictures of her, and the positions that the photographs have been taken in is the approach that a stalker would take when he's being predatory. One time she was asleep. She said he pulled back the covers and took like a really up close photo of her in her panties, and just naked photos when she's curling her hair. One time she was in the closet, and the way the phone was angled, he's shotting these photos. She calls in. She said, "Is it a big deal?" The folder that I found was titled "My Love." He said, "Oh, this is a huge deal. This is a huge deal." For those of you who would like to comment, give your thoughts on that segment, I'm dropping the link. Feel free to click and offer your thoughts. He's saying you're in danger. Molly, you need to run, because it sounds like he could be selling photos of his wife on the dark web. I can't make this stuff up. You heard it. I cannot make this stuff up, okay? I'm going to give a few seconds, and if not, we are going to go to the next segment of the show. Would you leave as a woman? Think about it very carefully. Or would you be like, you know what? He's my husband. I'm his wife. He's just trying. I'd rather him take photos of me, even though I'm uncomfortable. At least he's not watching pornography. At least he's not going to a strip club. Would that type of behavior be okay with you? Would you be able to explain it away to yourself? That's a lot. John feels like she's being stalked in her own home. I wanted to read a few comments. Well, it's too late. This was the Brian McKnight segment. So that was pretty disturbing. When I was reading that and she said he's snapping photos of her. For the men that are tuned in, is that a problem? Or is it just, she'd rather it be her than somebody else? I mean, welcome, LaDon. What are your thoughts on this segment?
I think it's a problem because you're my husband. Obviously you must know I don't like stuff like that. I'm not the type that do pictures and videos, because if it was something you liked, why didn't you introduce it in the relationship? Like, yo, babe, your body's so good. Let me take some photos. We're husband and wife. This is not only dangerous now, it can be dangerous for later, because if he's having these type of mannerisms as a stalker, allegedly, and stuff like that. What if she did try to leave him? What would he do? And what are you doing with those photos? I'd get rid of him. I'd divorce him. I'd press charges. No. And for him to sneak, it makes me think that he knows it's wrong and he's doing something underhanded with it, because married couples introduce different sexual things all the time to refresh the relationship. Why are you sneaking? She's definitely in danger now or for later.
Oh, excellent. Excellent. Thank you, LaDon. She said she's in danger. Nick, your girl next door. We just played a segment of a wife calling in. She needs advice. She found very disturbing photos of her when she's not looking, when she's not aware, when she's sleeping. Her husband has taken photos of her in very compromising positions. What are your thoughts?
Hey, Queen and chat. Look, a man is supposed to protect as well as lead. If she cannot trust him, if a situation arises, what more will she be able to do and look towards him? She didn't even say if they have children. I won't even feel comfortable being around him, knowing that my kids are not safe with him and his mindset. And her questioning, I know that's her husband, yet, but sometimes you got to say, let me pick up and go. And that's all I have to say. He's not safe. She has to go.
All right. Straight to the point. That's Nick, your girl next door. Hold on. We got some people that disagree. We have some women in the chat that says, no. How dare y'all encourage her to leave her husband? Miss Tootie says, I don't know. Maybe he's admiring her unless he has given her other signs of strange behavior. She says, I don't think it feels like it's a violation between husband and wife. Miss Tootie comes back and says that's not enough info for people to recommend her to leave him. Okay. She said, in her opinion, she doesn't think that the husband taking those sort of photos when his wife is not aware, when his wife is naked, and him keeping those on his phone or computer, she doesn't think it's enough unless she missed the full story. She said he's simply taking photos of his wife. What else has he done? According to the phone call, Tootie, it sounds like just the photos she's been made aware of. So that's Tootie's opinion. She's like, I don't think that's cause for divorce. I don't think she's in danger. It's just a husband admiring his wife. That's why I love this community. We all have different opinions. Welcome, somebody's mama. We are on the segment of the lady who called in regarding very disturbing photos she found of herself on her husband's device. What are your thoughts on that?
I'm reminded of that woman that was she in France and her husband was drugging her and inviting people over to have sex with her. And they found all of this stuff. They found all these men from in town. Like he invited all these people to be with his wife. The whole taking the pictures without her permission, I that's not good. I think she should probably move because it with the way that things are going and with the way that these people are, you think you know these people, but you don't know these people. Even people that I think it's extremely scary. And that man told her right.
You think she's gonna listen?
No.
Okay. All right. That's somebody's mama. Thank you. Let me ask you this. Do you feel like she's going to take his advice and leave, or do you think she'll brush it off as it's just my husband? Miss Yon Nikki says her body is still her body. Excellent point. That's a dangerous obsession. Her body is still her body. And with those type of photos, there would have to be consent established. Do you all agree? Or do you feel like as husband and wife, they are one? And if your husband decides to snap some photos of you naked, when you're not looking, when you're unaware, when you're asleep, pulling back the covers to expose your bottom and your panties, when you're in the shower, do you feel like your body belongs to you in a marriage? Or does your husband have full access, authorized, with or without your permission? What are your thoughts? Studio 5 said, did anyone pick up the fear in her voice, or was it just me? I'm a mom. You have to look past what is said and find the truth to help them. Oh, excellent point. Joya says, just because you are married doesn't mean anything. If he do this to his wife, he could do it to his children. He cannot be trusted. That's a good, I didn't think of it like that. No What says, nope. She thinks his obsession with her is okay. Notice she said she was relieved to find out the photos were of her and not someone else. Devonda feels like she heard a little bit of fear in her voice. Simply Yet Stylish says, listen, I believe it's unacceptable. It's still my body. Simone Wealthy comments, listen to what she said before she revealed the inappropriate pictures. He is not able to work because of his obsession with porn. He's a predator. Okay, let's go back and listen. Let's do a retake. We're not going to play the entire thing. We're just going to listen to that part. Hold on.
My husband and I have been married 9 years. We've had a lot of ups and downs, like most marriages. Earlier this year, I found out he had been looking at pornography.
It took her 9 years to figure out his kink. She just found out he's heavy into porn.
He claimed it wasn't an addiction, but he was doing it multiple times a day. It was affecting his job. He wasn't bringing in income. So we've had a lot going on with that. He started to act disconnected again recently.
Y'all, this man is wanting to get off so bad he can't even work.
So I was looking at his laptop and kind of seeing what was going on. noticed he was like doom scrolling and different things and not working again. I did notice that it was like a click where he was in his email in a photos folder. So when I clicked on it, there was the top email, the subject line was my love. And when I clicked on it, it was luckily me, which I was honestly relieved. But it was photos of me that were taken without my knowledge, almost like what a stalker would take of somebody. I'm either naked or half naked, getting ready in the bathroom, putting on makeup, curling my hair, but the photos are him taking them from our room without, me knowing from a different room. I'm standing in the closet in some of them. And one of the creepiest ones, I have on a tank top and panties and I'm sleeping, but I'm sleeping on my stomach with my leg kind of propped up, and he's pulled back the covers and was angling the photo in a weird angle. And it's so violating and disgusting for me to see these and they're creepy. And I just don't, A, I want to know if I'm valid for feeling that way. And B, if this has been a repetitive cycle of him doing things like this behind my back, how do I approach this or even attempt to move on? Or
you're not going to like what I'm about to say, okay? But you need to get out of your house as soon as you can. Or he needs to get out of the house as soon as possible. Very unsafe.
That's a man's advice from a man's perspective. Ladies, sometimes when a man says you need to go, you need to go. You need to go now. You're not in a safe environment. Let's go. We got another comment that came in. Trust your heart says you guys are missing the lie of it all. Hold on. I'm not following. You guys are missing the lie of it all. If he's lying about that, what else is he lying about, guys? This is serious. And my concern with women allowing this is the reason why men do what they do. Interesting point. But according to John, a man's perspective, listen, relieved or not that it's you, you need to get out of your home immediately. This is not safe. The behavior, the stalking you. When you think about big cats, lions, tigers, they play with their food before they eat it. Welcome, Simone Wealthy. We are talking this segment of a woman who found very disturbing photos of herself and her husband's phone on his devices. What are your thoughts?
Good afternoon, Queen Palace. Exactly what you just said. It's escalating at this point. It took her 9 years to find out this, but he's probably been doing this since year one. And what the caller before me said regarding that monster in France, he was married to his wife for a number of years, and he was ugging her and having they lost count at, I want to say, over 500 different men. He was selling
Wow.
pictures and everything, and having men come to her home. She did not know it. He every night, I guess, when they had dinner, he was drugging her, or ugging her. And there were multiple tapes of her, these men having X with her. And I think somehow, some way, one of them got caught. I guess they took the tape and they recognized that this woman was not awake. She didn't know what the heck was going on. She knew nothing about it until it was approached to her by law enforcement and some other agencies.
How do you tie that into this? And what would be your feedback on this?
I think he's doing the same thing that man was doing. I think he's escalating. She needs to see if he's taking pictures of her when she's asleep and pulling back her panty and all of that stuff. He's doing that same stuff. He's probably selling her on the dark web, and who knows what's happening. It could be almost the same identical thing what that a poor lady went through in France, and she was married to that asshole for 20 plus years, 30 years.
Gotcha.
So it sounds like he's doing something just like that, and it's slowly escalating. And unfortunately, though, she just sounds really weak, and I don't know if she's going to make a move or not. But that, having a folder of pictures, inappropriate pictures that she knows nothing about, that's very concerning. She should run and never look back.
Whew. All right. Thank you, Simone Wealthy. I appreciate you. That's Simone Wealthy, y'all. She said, you need to run. You need to run and don't look back. And not only that, Simone, you gave me something to think about. Have you all seen the movie called 13 Cameras? Where that Airbnb person had those hidden cameras and would sell the videos on the dark web of the people coming in and out of the Airbnb, I do believe. What just crossed my mind is if this man would go to such lengths to I don't think he's looking for permission. For those of you that are saying, well, they're married, I don't think he has consensual sex with his wife. He sees her naked all the time. That's not what gets him off. He doesn't want permission. He's not looking for a meeting of the minds and a collaborative photo shoot where some of you are explaining away his grotesque behavior. Oh, it's just sexy photos. Listen. I don't want permission. That's not what gets me off. Your permission. What gets me off is your unawareness when you're in the most vulnerable state you can be in. Because a woman naked can be the most beautiful thing or the most vulnerable thing. I'm capturing you in your full vulnerability. And I'm weaponizing that, and I'm angling my camera. And she said sometimes he would take photos of her from another room. The way the camera was angled. He's stalking his wife. Watch this. And if you would take photos of me, now that we're kind of peeling back this thing. If you would take photos of me without my permission because that turns you on, and according to John, wait a minute. John knows men better than women. And ma'am, there could be a possibility according to John, and he was very conservative with what he was saying. But basically, he insinuated these could be photos that your husband is selling of you on the black web. There's an escalation. And how do I know that one day you won't escalate into allowing someone to come into our home and hide a camera? You get what I'm saying? All right. Welcome. Trust Your Heart. What are your thoughts on this segment?
Well, hello, guys. Can you hear me? I was the one that indicated if he's lying about that. My issue with all of this, guys, is not about the being married. He doesn't own you. You're not his possession, nor vice versa. You have to ask me. As I always share with you, I was married 45 years. I'm a widow for 2 years now. Never, ever will it be acceptable. Get out now, because what else is he lying about? And I just feel like women must, my opinion, I have a 33-year-old daughter, must respect themselves just a little bit better. And you teach men how to treat you. And that's it. That's my little 2 cents.
Hold on. You come with some experience. I have to give you a bow of courtesy. You were married 25 years. You have a
No,
daughter.
ma'am. 45.
45 years.
I'm a widow now for 2 years. Sorry.
Okay, so let me ask you this. What would you, if your daughter called into this show, what will be the top 3 bullet point pieces of advice you would give her? Take a couple of seconds. Bullet point number 1, bullet point number 2, and bullet point number 3. What would you say to your daughter?
It is my only child. One, y'all, I'm calling the police. One, I'm going to, if she listens to me, I'm going to encourage her to call the police. I'm pressing charges. That is a violation. 2, I'm going to advise that you file for divorce. And 3, your mama's got you. Period.
All right. Thank you. Trust Your Heart. I love it. Thank you for coming up. That was Trust Your Heart. Oh, they're loving it in the chat. She's going to drop back down and come and hang out with you all in the chat. Please keep the conversation going in the chat. We recognize some people are out and about. You're at brunch, you're hanging out, and you can't call in, but keep the conversation flowing in the chat. And listen, she comes with experience, married for 45 years and said, this is not normal. Get out, leave now. Uni Boo, welcome to Saturday morning. I said what I said. We're talking about a woman who discovered very disturbing photos of herself on her husband's device. What are your thoughts?
Hello, good afternoon, everybody. So my thought is, I agree with the previous caller. Just because we married, that doesn't give you ownership to my body, because I was myself, my own person, and your own person. We came together to make this work. That doesn't mean you have to sneak around. I'm your wife. I'm sure we have intimate moment. You don't have to sneak pictures of me unless you were doing something that is illegal with my pictures that I'm not going to agree with. That is sick and disgusting. I think she should do a paper trail, tell everybody else, make sure she have proof or something happened to her. That way we can know exactly what's going on. Don't just get out. She needs to make a concrete bulletproof plan just in case he retaliates, if she asks for divorce or if she leaves. That's my opinion.
All right. Thank you. I appreciate you coming up. That's Uniboo, a longtime listener of the channel. She came up and shared her thoughts. She said, listen, you got to go. You are his wife. There's no reason your husband should be treating you that way. No excuse. You're you, he's him. And even if he wanted that type of activity, I'm sure he could get it. I'm sure y'all have very intimate moments. You've been together for 9 years. But here's the thing, you guys. It sounds like this man has an addiction that's so debilitating, he can't even work. It's almost like being on a drug, right? Like a crackhead, a meth head, where the addiction completely disrupts your day-to-day functioning. And let me say this to both men and women. It is not your job to save others. It's their job to save themselves. You are not obligated to babysit anybody's addiction because you're married to them. That will kill you. What do you mean? That impacts your overall health and wellness, well-being. That puts you in a constant state of stress because you're always in fight, flight, freeze mode. You're not sure what's going to happen. You're always on your toes. Your nervous system can't seem to get a stable state of relaxation. Get the hell out. It doesn't have to be porn. It doesn't have to be anything. It is not your responsibility to go into a marriage and save somebody. If it begins to impact you, your stress levels, your mental health, your life work balance, no, that's not your job. That's their parents' job. Maybe your mom can love you a little bit better than I can, but I came into this marriage looking for a man, or I came into this marriage looking for a woman, not a child, not a little girl or a little boy. I did not say I do. I am not here to babysit your addictions. I love you and I wish you well. But as for me, for those of you tuned in, go out and live your life. You get one go. You do not have to allow anyone to take you down and suffer. And I think this is the perfect segue into the next topic. Kandi Burruss has announced that she will be divorcing her husband, Todd Tucker, after, oh my God, y'all, 11 years of marriage. The internet is on fire. If you're not familiar with Kandi, let me give you a brief rundown. Kandi is a self-made millionaire. She is a songwriter. She sang with the group Escape. She announced on yesterday that she's divorcing. Oh my gosh, she's divorcing her husband. They have split after 11 years. She said this is a very difficult and emotional time for her. They've been married since April of 2014. Before we get into the thick of it, here's some things I want you to consider. I don't believe this marriage ever got off on the right start. There was turmoil, there was intensity and tensions from go. Her mother didn't like him. Her mother interfered. Her mother crossed the line. There was a lot of stress. There was a lot of complexities. There was fighting like a day or two before the wedding with the prenuptial agreement. Kandi became very emotional about the prenup and cried. Do you remember when she says, "You're not going to take my money"? The wedding probably should have never happened. I'm sad about this, but the wedding probably should have never happened. Let me tell you why I say that before I open up the lines for those of you to come in. According to statistics, 85 to 87% of most marriages are 85 to 87% of marriages that do end in divorce, those divorces are initiated by women, according to statistics. The number one cause of divorce in the United States, I'm going to let y'all guess. What do you think it is? The number one cause before I say it. C, give me a thumbs up if you're trying to speak on Kandi. If I can see you. Are you here for Kandi? C, the person backstage? Are you here for the previous topic? Okay, let me bring you in before I go any further. Okay. All right, welcome C. We just left the topic about the lady finding the very disturbing photos of her and her husband's device on his phone, stalking her in the home. What are your thoughts as a man?
I'm so sorry. That is not the topic. I was wanting to comment on Brian
No.
McKnight.
We just left it. You're good. You're right on time. Go ahead. You have the floor.
Okay, so I just wanted to say that I think it's interesting that Brian McKnight stayed with this woman for 13 years, his ex-wife, and when when he's given us his reasoning for that situation not working, he has to go all the way back to the very beginning. We don't get usually when things like when a marriage breaks down, people talk about, oh, she wasn't a good wife. Maybe she was just the B word all the time, or she was lacking in her parenting skills. We got none of that. We go back to a childhood excuse in a way. And then if you came up in the church and your folks are this family, prominent family within the church, yeah. So did you not think that you're a church girl? And so maybe God told her that she shouldn't get an abortion. Like you didn't, none of that, nothing about your conversation was of a godly man or a man whose roots began with God to begin with. So I just found all of that to be very interesting. Even the reasonings for his divorce wasn't rooted in the Bible or
Oh,
ungodly principles. And so it's just like I don't think that he's always I think that he's always been exactly who he is today. And it's too I'm gonna tell you it's a lot of black women that are raising their sons to be this, to be white supremacists. I brought this up before. And yes, these men can cloak themselves in the identity of the community for all of these years, using black women, using the riches of the black community. Usher is another one. And it's just like none of these black heartthrobs from the black community are married. None of their greatest investment in life are given to black women.
let me ask you
And
this.
so even
Let me
when
ask you something real
Mhm,
quick. You said you talked about their religious background. Do you feel like
mhm.
okay, because he started off the interview, "I'm religious, we're prominent, we come from prominent families. She knows my family is high up, and I know hers is high up." When you think about how he started off that interview, do you think it was about religion or he just wanted sex and he used religion to exile her?
I think it was about status. I think for him, and it gives you a window into how he saw himself and how he saw life even as a child, and it was about status. And I do believe that he probably did come from a evangelical family of status because I come from one, and they move differently. And it is very superficial. And so I believe that he has given us his truth, which is the scary part. But I believe that his truth is revealing, his inner mentality. And it seems as if his current wife would question his relationship with God. Because it's just interesting, your identity in God and your identity as a man, those are like, they're not meshing well.
Okay. Oh, you give me something to think about. Let me ask you this. I think Brian McKnight went on to marry an Asian woman. Is that correct?
Yes, and
Oh,
I think
okay.
assume his Asian son's last name as well.
Did he have children with the Asian lady, or did he adopt her children or take them on as his own?
Both,
Okay.
both.
Qualm would do you think his qualm is religion, or do you think his qualm in and of itself. It's just Black women.
I think it's white supremacy. I think that's just a part of what we get in his package. It does. White supremacy is anti-blackness and
Mm.
finding value in anti-blackness, finding value in demarginalizing Black women, and a lot of Black men are practicing that, and it's interesting. It should be studied.
Oh.
Like this should be studied. It's so crazy how we're the only community that's facing this time and time again, over and over again. I called in a couple of months ago about Kevin Gates and how
Mm-hmm.
he felt about Savannah James
Mm.
and how that was specifically about race coming from the mouth of another Black male. And we never have any examples of this of white men, just to add to that. And I think I'm just going to end on that note. It should be studied. People should start taking note of, like, especially, I tell people all the time, the entertainment system in the NBA, 70% of them are Christian African American men. Less than 3% of them are married to Black women. That's not even your money. That's all of that wealth. That's not yours. It's not coming back to us. If we want to enhance the wealth of the African American community, I see now as a Black male, we have to do that through the Black woman. It's not going to happen through the Black. For some reason, they see themselves as being a product of America.
Let me ask you this before I go ahead and go to the next topic. Do you feel like in many cases now you said we're the only community in your opinion that suffers from this rhetoric, this notion, this ideology? I would probably, if you and I were talking together and co-hosting a panel, I would jump in and say, but we have to admit some of it is voluntary. Women are volunteering themselves to go into these toxic situations, right? But let me ask you this. Let me see. Hold on. What was I about to ask you? Oh, I lost my freaking thought. I lost my thought. I'll come back. Oh man, I had the question ready to go. Um, I'll shout you out in the chat when it comes back to me.
Okay, I'm just sitting in the barbershop, so
Okay, okay. You know
I'm
what? I'll
about to
just
pull
take
up
you
now.
off stage. I won't drop you. I'll just take you off stage for now. And if it comes back, I'll bring you back on.
Okay.
All right. All right, y'all. Oh, that's why I said what I said. If you are new here, this is your opportunity where you call in uninterrupted and you fire off. This is a very diverse platform. Okay. Uh we have various opinions. We have people from different backgrounds with different thought leadership, different ideologies, and we welcome them all because I believe although we may not agree on everything, I enjoy listening to other people. I enjoy seeing things from a different perspective. Now, we are going. Aqua Queen says, I love when we get a man's perspective. I do too. I do too. Listen, we're going to shift to Kandi and Todd. After 11 years of marriage, Kandi has announced that they're getting a divorce. It's over. It's done with. I gave you some examples of how I felt the marriage did not get off the ground from the start. And you've got to be very careful. I know that it's believed that women prioritize marriage as a fantasy in more ways than men. Most men, if we believe kind of some of what's floating around, just their perception of marriage is prison. Their perception of marriage is, oh, I'm signing my life over. Women fantasize about marriage in most cases ever since they're like little girls. What dress am I going to wear? All of my friends are going to be there. I did not see the beauty in the preparation for the marriage as it relates to Todd and Kandi. I'm sorry, I didn't see it. I watched it. I never saw it. There was too much intensity. It was negative from the start. Mama Joyce, in my opinion, had a heavy hand in that. There was death in the family. The stress, I still believe, killed his mother. They had to prove themselves. I don't think Mama Joyce thought that he was ever good enough for Kandi. They were fighting over money before they said I do. And if the truth be told, I don't think Todd's a bad guy, but I don't think he and Kandi were a good match from go. Let me tell you why. Hold on. Give me 1 second. I don't think Kandi, they were a good match from go. And the money, they weren't equally yoked, in my opinion, okay? They weren't. And I believe Kandi may have funded his future because it wasn't his money. I believe he was not necessary. I don't believe he was very responsible. Let's try this business venture. Let's try that business venture. Her contracts, often she had to include him. He would compete with his wife in the marriage. There was one time he's like, "You don't ever focus on my business." Well, first of all, you had no business when you came into the marriage. And I think Kandi carried the bulk of the weight financially in the marriage. I think it was a huge mistake for Kandi to lend herself out to the sexual alleged threesomes. I think the marriage was out of order before they said I do. Let me give you a little bit of background, and then I'm going to open up the lines and we can take it from there. The Real Housewives of Atlanta star and her producer husband have been married since April 2014, okay? People noticed that last week at BravoCon, Kandi had dropped Tucker from her last name. She was not wearing her wedding ring. And yesterday, November 21st, the Real Housewives of Atlanta star announced she was splitting from her husband. She said she asked for privacy, grace, and understanding as they navigate this transition within their family. I feel bad for Kayla, Todd's daughter. I never understood his harsh approach with his only daughter. I never understood him in that manner. I didn't feel like he had a soft tenderness towards his daughter. And let me tell you something, women, when you meet men who are exiled from their or disconnected from the women in their family, I don't know why you all think that he could be better to you than he can be better to his bloodline, okay? The couple wed in April 2014, and they welcomed 2 children together, one naturally and one produced by a surrogate, okay? They're going their separate ways after 11 years of marriage. After deep thought and a lot of prayer, according to People magazine, Kandi stated that I've made the decision to move forward with the divorce. This is a difficult and emotional time, but my focus remains on protecting my peace, being the best mother I can be, and co-parenting with love and respect. I'm stepping into a new chapter, pouring into my work, my family, and my own growth. I'm grateful to everyone who supported us throughout the years, and I ask for privacy. I ask for grace and understanding. Kandi's 49, y'all. She's about to be 50 in May. Todd is 52. And they met while they were filming the 4th season of The Real Housewives of Atlanta, okay? They met in 2011. They got engaged 2 years later. And then they tied the knot the following year. That's about all I want to give you on this. Oh, they teamed up professionally on a variety of projects, according to People magazine, a soul food restaurant chain in Georgia that failed, a trucking business, a Bravo series about their family, and the restaurant businesses are just a few examples. Okay. Now, here's the thing. Those were his ideas. And I feel like Kandi was just trying to be a good wife. But that's a lot of money to lose when your husband feels like just because you have it and just because he's the man, you need to support him. The trucking business, the failed restaurants. What are your thoughts on Kandi and Todd? Y'all, unfortunately, I can only give you 30 seconds. Let me drop the link. Come back up. What are your thoughts on the demise of the marriage and Kandi announcing that she's going to divorce Todd? Give me a thumbs up if you want to speak, C. All right, C, welcome back. What are your thoughts?
Well, first, I just want to say I do think that the whole Aunt Bertha, Mama Joy situation, I do think that that gave acceleration to Todd's his real goal at the end of the day, to be honest with you. Not for the reasons that everyone else does. I think that Todd was always there for gain. The marriage started at the same time the businesses did, and they ended at the same time. And so it's just like it was a business relationship for Todd. And I do think that Todd is a very transactional individual when it comes to Black women. And so that is exactly why he would probably have that disconnect with his black daughter. And so I think that and I know that I stumped hard on this. I
Let
stumped.
me give you 1 second. Hold on. We have Anton Daniels here about the that you just remember we just spoke on Brian McKnight. He said, I think it's sad that people listen to small clips and not receive the full context when the information is out there in the full interview. That's unfortunate. It is, Anton, but you have to realize we have to consider the ways of the world where clips are being released all over social media. Now, if you would like to come up, I would like to, and give us just like a
I
summarize.
will tell you, to be honest
Hold
with
on,
you.
see. Hold on, see. And if you would like to summarize, because the podcaster Anton is here, the one that interviewed Brian McKnight. But Anton, if you want to come up and summarize and break down the takeaways that you feel were just like high moments in the interview, feel free to do so. We're open. I mean, but the good thing is, so here's the thing about this platform, right? They all have their different opinion. And he's here. Everybody mute up for me. Everybody please be mute up for me. I see everybody backstage, but let's just take a second. And then let me bring Anton up so that he can give us a little bit more meat about his experience. Hey, Anton, welcome. Saturday morning, I said what I said.
What's going on? I haven't spoke to you in a while.
I know it's been a while. So listen, we were able to get a clip. Well, I got a clip this morning as I was perusing social media with your interview with Brian McKnight, which I shared today as a hot topic. Tell us about that experience. I'm going to go on mute and let you have the floor based on your comment that you left in the chat about, that was just a small clip and you don't feel like most people got the full context of the interview.
Well, the full interview is up and it's got timestamps in it. So it's not even an excuse to be lazy to go and look at and make an assessment, which I'm not telling people that they should feel any specific way, but at least get all of the information on both sides, because what we know in life is that there's always at least two sides to the story. You're going to get it from one lens and then you're going to get it from the other lens. But very rarely do I ever hear anybody that is telling their side tell their problems and what they did to cause a situation. The one thing that I experienced from Brian, which I never edited the interview, I just put it out exactly how it is that he not only told the full story, he told the part that he was guilty of also. He said why he married her and, they weren't born out of love and he was raised in a church and the expectation in the Seventh-day Adventist church, especially at that time, getting married at 20 years old and then signing this deal at 22 years old, was that you had to do the right thing. He spoke on the fact that, they had agreed for her to have an abortion. And then she popped back up and said, I didn't have it. And so, he married her. But that's the full context when he said that the kids weren't had out of love. They were had, and that's not necessarily a good thing, but that's not abnormal. And so people that then paint a picture, they like to say, well, he abandoned his kids. He kicked his kids out of the house when they were 26 and 27 years old. They were living with him. They had quit the tour that they were supposed to be on together because they said that they wanted to go and live with their girlfriends. The oldest son, the one that threw him under the bus, had 2 baby mamas. And he had his girlfriends living with him at Brian's house, and they was having a whole drug-fueled parties when he was out on tour and taking care of his 4 sons. And even when he put him out, he didn't put him out. He didn't put him out. He gave him an apartment. He paid for them to have an apartment for a year. And then the final straw was when Brian, because they had the same name, went to the airport to go and do a show overseas. And he got arrested at the airport because his oldest son wasn't paying child support. And so they mistook him for his son, and he wound up getting arrested, and he had to clear that out and miss a show. And then he still paid for an apartment a whole year after that. So how much longer do you expect for him to financially support his grown children? You see what I'm saying? And of course we know that the blogs are going to chop it up. We know that the on-sites in the shade room is looking for this type of information. And we also know that people have generational trauma, so they're biased. And once somebody make up their mind about somebody, that they don't want the full context, but I think that that's the lazy thing to do. And so it's not about whether we agree or we disagree. It's about understanding. And if the information is out there, and that's why I put the whole interview out first before we started to have clips. If the information is out there, it's not that difficult to go and look at the timestamp and get the full context and then make an assessment. So again, I'm not telling people what they need to feel or see, but at least stop being lazy and don't let the shade room be your source when I actually did the interview and I put it fully out there. And so, you know, I don't really care about how people feel about me. I've been married for 21 years to the same woman. I don't have any illegitimate kids, and I employ 80% Black women. So I'm not really concerned about that. But all I'm saying is, when you make an assessment about somebody, because we have to be responsible about how we kill people's reputation when we do have the information, at the very least, do the work. It's not even that hard. That's the full context, and it's out there, and it's available for anybody to see.
Hold on, I got a couple of questions. I want to be sarcastic for a moment. You know me.
Yeah.
We've gone around and around before, but hey, Anton, the shade room was not my source. It was
No. I'm not talking about you.
Okay, gotcha.
I'm talking about people that are lazy in their opinions that don't want to get the full context.
Okay,
whenever I go and look at something, right, I go to find what the original source is that the people chopped it up from, so I can get the full context before I make an assessment of it. You see what I'm saying?
I got you. Do I have permission to review and recap live your interview?
You can look at any of my stuff. You know that.
Okay, no, but can I use it on my platform? See, there's a difference, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, cool. Okay, thank you. So then we'll probably do that tomorrow, y'all, for Sunday dinner. We'll have a Sunday dinner segment, and we're going to assess the full interview. He just gave us his permission. My other question to you, I'm glad you're up here. People are really turned off. And listen, I'm not, because I have brothers. I understand how men think, but people are really turned off that he said, my children were not made out of love. I didn't love her. I never loved her. Pause for a second. Explain that from the perspective of a man. Break that down for the women in the audience.
Well, first of all, he said it in the interview that they separated 4 times. Before it was a 13, they were married for 13 years, separated 4 times. And eventually, when they separated, he was paying her $23,000 a month and alimony and child support. And he voluntarily gave her pieces of his catalog and publishing. Now, if you notice, nothing was a problem until after he had got with the new wife. And if you look at the full interview, the reason why you know that the children are lying is because he also sent me footage of his children celebrating the new wife, celebrating him, being his best man at their marriage, in the wedding ceremony. And so I put in the throwback footage. I put in everything. So the when it became a problem, because one of the reasons why he changed his name, right, to his younger son's name, and this context is in there also, is because the new wife, one of the stipulations from his ex-wife was that when she got married to somebody else, which she did, that is what cut off all of the alimony and the child support. But she chose to keep his name, even though she was married to a new person. Now, if that's not a form of disrespect, I don't know what is. Why would you marry somebody else but keep your ex-husband's name? Like, we have to use our critical thinking skills, right? And it's because she was still leveraging him in order to get money. It's a reason why he won a defamation lawsuit. And, because there were so many lies, and before she was supposed to submit that book, they were supposed to figure out and correct and actually put the right information into the book. And that is the reason, because it is very difficult to win a defamation lawsuit. Very difficult to win a defamation lawsuit. So when you combine all of these different things, right, when you start to really look at the whole picture, even if you don't 100% believe everything that he says, listen to her, listen to him, listen to kids, and then make an assessment. When he said that the children weren't born out of love, that is because She got pregnant when they were in college. This was just a situationship. This was him backsliding from the church, right? But he still felt like it was necessary for him to do the right thing by the kids, which is one of the reasons why he tried to make it work. It actually worked against him by not getting a divorce earlier in the relationship, because that is the reason why he wound up having to give her pieces of his catalog. That is one of the reasons why he had to give her pieces of the catalog. But he didn't make any excuses for that. He just told it like it was. And he said, you know what, it's cool. I had to, I paid her. And then here's the thing. He gave her an extra $250,000 after he was done paying her alimony and child support, because she came back to the well. He paid her alimony and child support up through the kids being 23 years old. That's not even obligation from the court. That's something that he agreed to.
Let me ask you this though, as a man, right, wrong, or indifferent, is it a nice thing to come out publicly and say, when your children can hear you, you were not made in love?
Well, after they throw you under the bus and try to destroy your reputation, absolutely.
Okay, so would you prioritize your personal?
That was a reaction. That's a reaction. Right. That's not
as a father though, right? Because let's just say, would you? In what situation should a father prioritize his personal feelings over the well-being of his children, even if they are adults? Would you ever say that?
As 30 plus year old adults, at what point? Why are we not asking the adults as 30 plus year olds to take responsibility for who they are? Well, these are some of the most dynamic, right? These are some of the most privileged children that we have ever seen. Most people do not even have both parents in their life. And you're telling me that as an adult, you can't take responsibility and ownership for yourself, and you still dependent on daddy?
And I get that aspect, the financial dependency upon your father, but it's kind of like, which one comes first, the chicken or the egg? So my question still remains. If we just take Brian McKnight off the table and you just present yourself, would you ever say that about your children, even if it's true that they were not made in love?
Absolutely. You would say that publicly? If it came to the point to where my children, which I don't have children, I have a child. If it came to the point to where my child is literally trying to destroy my reputation that I've spent my lifetime building up, especially based in lies, I have a right to defend myself against anybody.
Then that makes all parties involved wrong. If I have to sit back and assess, children's wrong.
I think you're entitled to that opinion. I'm cool. I don't have no problem with anybody having their own opinion.
No, if they're all fighting, right, and we're talking establishing psychological mutual combat, at this point the gloves are off.
At what point does he have the right to defend himself, Sheba?
Oh no, I think he has a right to defend himself. My question is, how far should a man go, a father go?
What do you mean? Is it not the truth? As far as the truth will take you.
He has the freedom, but how far?
As far as the truth will take you. I think that he's been silent for too long and not telling the whole story.
Okay.
And he's reached out to multiple different platforms that's had conversations about him, and they ran with the narrative and refused to get the full story.
Okay.
And because him and I are good friends and we've been friends for a long time.
Okay.
And I've never asked him, not one time asked him for an interview, have conversations, none of that type of stuff. Because I'm friends with a lot of people in the industry. You know how it is. You know. We meet people, we develop, a lot of friendships. I'm friends with a lot of actors, singers, business people, you name it. And most of the time I keep my friendships cool. But at the same time, if they want to tell their story, they have free reign to do so on my platform. And when he felt like telling his story, when he got fed up, he said, you know what, I've been quiet long enough about certain things. I want to, let people know regardless of, and let's be clear. And see, I know the real. It's not about money, because he's straight. I promise you on everything. He's straight from a financial perspective. He just wants to get the other side of the story and let people determine what it is that it is after that.
That's fair. Listen, now look, I know he sat down with different people But let him know he hasn't sat down with the palace, which prominent majority is 90% women who's still seeking to understand him. Go ahead.
No,
And
they're not. No. I'm not going with that, Sheba. Listen,
I'm going with it, Brian.
I'm looking at. I have thick skin because I've been doing this for a long time. Hold on, Sheba. I have thick skin because I've been doing this for a long time. Before I even added the context, I'm looking at the people in the chat already having their mind made up. No. You made a statement. You made a statement, Sheba. You said they are open. No, that is not open.
No, I didn't say they're open. No, I didn't say they were open. I said the platform went over. That's my Texas accent. Over 85K. I mean 84. Over, not open.
Oh, I thought you were saying they were open to the truth.
Over. You know, women. See, here's the thing. I understand, Brian, speaking with you, but women are still curious. Women still have a lot of questions. But that's it. But thank you for coming up. I appreciate
Anytime.
That.
We go back years.
Yeah, we do.
We've had our battles, but we're doing what we do.
Yeah, I appreciate it. It was, the clip was very interesting. There's definitely some talking points. I like it. That's why we talked about it today. But I'm going to break down the entire interview. Thank you for giving me your permission. I appreciate that.
Anytime. Let me know if you need anything else.
I have a question.
Okay.
You got a question for
I
me?
have a question. Yes. So
hold on, Simone. Hold on. Are you open to questions, Anton?
Absolutely. Well, go ahead.
Okay, go ahead, Simone.
So you're saying no other media outlet would take an interview with him, just you as his good friend? People Magazine, Entertainment Tonight, any other platform would not take?
I can't hear. I'm sorry. You went out for a second.
Sorry, I got a call. So you're saying that no one wanted to interview and hear his side besides you? Is that what you're saying?
No. Okay. So here's the context. Somebody, I'm getting a lot of feedback. I'm sorry.
I muted her up. Go ahead.
Okay. So here's the context. There's a thing that exists in this world called platform supremacy, subscriber supremacy, right? And if the loudest ones in the room is creating the narrative, and then also on top of that, if certain platforms have a reputation for chopping it up or to putting out things or to be salacious instead of just airing it the way that it is, then you got to be careful, especially as a person that has one opportunity to tell your story on where it lives. And so one thing that I have a reputation for with all of the people that I interview is just airing it exactly how we record it. And so, he felt more comfortable that I would ask the right questions, that I would actually want to understand who he is, that I would get the full context. And I think that's exactly what I did. I asked him questions about the very beginning, the inception, who he was, how he came to be, what his upbringing is, what his relationship with his parents were, was he raised in a church, how he was affected by getting married early, so on and so forth, how that transitioned into, the relationship that he had with his ex-wife. And then I transitioned, the interview a little bit further, and you'd have to see it, watch it for yourself. But we talked for 2 hours, and I wasn't interested in just the gossip. I wanted to know the full story, because very rarely do you get an opportunity to ask certain questions. And so I asked the questions to paint the full picture. And that's why I say that it's a lot of platforms that are lazy. If you look at some of these platforms that even have a lot of subscribers, they thrive off clips. They don't thrive off of context. And so he felt more comfortable watching the way that I work, watching the way that I speak, for me to ask the right questions. And so that's why he came up on the platform. He asked Joe Budden, could he come on and clear it up after they had that conversation, and they never responded. He said it in the interview.
All right, we're going to break it down. So Deity Supreme says, Queen, what time you breaking this interview down tomorrow? Because I can't wait. We're going to probably break it down between 3 to 4 p.m. Central Standard Time. But Simone, did Anton answer your question? Does that help?
It gives context.
Okay. All right. Any more? Hold on. Let me see. Wait, y'all, before we got to, any other specific questions for Anton while he's here from any of the panelists? Speak now.
Somebody says, did he get the full story from the ex-wife? Well, guess what? She wrote a whole book. So she told the story from her lens.
So we're saying that we must believe what Brian says out of his mouth. Everything that he's saying is truthful.
I didn't say that. I said get it from both lenses. Why would you only want to get it from one side? Why wouldn't you want to get it from both sides and then make your own assessment? That's being an adult.
Does that
But are
help
we
Simone?
to believe him? That
You
can say whatever he wants, but
I've said it 4 times.
I'm not saying you, but you're saying that we need to listen to him. But what if what he's saying is not 100% honest? And I
I've
think
said it 4
a lot of
times.
women have.
You are free to make your own assessment, but the only thing that I think as an adult, the responsible thing to do is to get it from both sides. You can believe whatever you want to believe. That's not up to me.
Any other questions before he drops down? All right. Anton, thank you so much. You know I appreciate you.
All right, see you, babe.
Okay, thank you. That's Anton Daniels, y'all. Listen, let me use Anton as an example. Anton and I were in the I was in the manosphere. We would go and debate and do all of that. Let me show you how content creators, even when we have various, just a variation of different opinions, go toe to toe in a heated format, right? On platforms and still pop up and show respect to each other. That's how it's supposed to be in the love and marriage Huntsville sector. You get what I'm saying? Can walk each other down in a debate, curse or whatever, and then come back and act like we got some sense. That's how it's supposed to be. That's it. That's all. Listen, I feel Simone, what are your thoughts? You okay?
Oh, I'm fine. I mean, everything that he said, I've heard before. Other content creators have covered the situation with his sons, and how they, went overboard with, their privilege, I would say. But I think it's just, I'll wait for you to go look at the entire interview so we can dig deeper. But I just don't particularly believe everything that Brian's saying.
Okay. Miss
He
Jen,
was his
let me
best
go trust your
friend.
heart.
That's
Let me
just, it's
go to
kind
Jen.
of, I'm sorry.
Okay, no problem. Trust your heart. What are your thoughts on today's segment before we wrap up?
Well, actually, I was just coming in on the Kandi Burris. So if
Okay.
we're done with that, we're good.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah, I
yeah,
think
I'm ready for candy, honey. I'm ready for candy.
That's what I
Let's
was
get
saying. I
it.
was coming in on Kandi. I
I
think
know, right? Look, we got to get over there to TikTok, the melody. I know, y'all. I just let it flow over here. You know what I mean? And sometimes we flow right on out to shore to sea. Sometimes we flow right on out to sea. Caramel says, I don't like his attitude on the panel. It's okay. You got to realize, like, you can't take it personal on YouTube because it's just depending on where YouTube is a big world. If you stumble upon different segments and different sectors in YouTube, you're gonna get a little bit of fire. So, but you can't personalize it, especially on Saturday. I said what I said. Remember, the first rule is don't take it personal. The second one is to stand on business, and that's what we do over here. So it ain't personal. It's okay. Miss Jen, welcome. What are your thoughts?
Good morning. Good morning, chat. Good morning, Queen. Am I allowed to talk about Brian?
About who?
About Brian McKnight? I just want to make
Yeah,
sure
go
I'm on the
ahead. Give
right
your
part.
thoughts. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. I feel like Brian McKnight may have told the whole truth about his part of his story, but it's also his slant on the facts. Like you was forced to marry because you was a Christian, you didn't want a child, you had it anyway. It's like he takes everything and lays it at the foot of his ex-wife while he looks like the innocent. But did you tell that Christian woman that you loved her? Or did you just tell her you wanted to lay down with her as a Christian man? You separated 4 times, but you came back 4 times. You paid $23,000 a month and all this other stuff that you did. But what's the reason why you had to do that? See, I feel like he's a person that likes to tell the part of the story that makes him look victimized. And then that whole piece about how men can like to convince themselves that the new woman is the problem. Rarely is the new woman the problem. But how did you change when you got the new woman? What you take away when you got the new woman? What conversation of yours changed up when you got the new woman? That's usually the stuff that's the problem. But they like to hide it behind the fact that they think that you mad because they got somebody new, and that's rarely what the situation is. And then just this last week about women keeping their name. Maybe she did keep that name because she wants to hold on to the status of being a McKnight. Maybe she wanted to keep the name because she wants the same last name as her children. But one thing men have to understand is that women changing our name is a lot of paperwork. It's a lot of paperwork to have to deal with out here in the cyber world and with Social Security and with all these. I got to go change my credit cards, my bank account. And sometimes you don't want to go through all that. So you just keep the last name, but it ain't got nothing to do with wanting you. No, but it's like they like to connect themselves to the fact that they think it's got something to do with you. Maybe it ain't got nothing to do with you. Maybe she just don't want to go through the paperwork. But I think he told a carefully crafted story that made him a victim, made him try to sound like he's a great guy when the facts is that he just doesn't seem to be a pleasant person. That's the way he reads across to other people. And I really don't mean this part as no shade. But the interviewee sounds like the interviewer. They have the same kind of mindset. Ain't nothing wrong with that, but that's just the way it came off to me.
All right. Well, thank you. Thank you for coming up today on Saturday. I said what I said, Miss Jen. Those are her thoughts. We appreciate you, Queen.
Thank you.
All right. I want to read this last comment. Watch this. Let me show y'all something. Girl, what's the tea? Girl, what's the tea? Says Anton is very disrespectful. And to allow him to come here and play that BS is cray. Why? Because here's an aspect of me y'all are not familiar with. I'm with the shits too. Y'all just don't see it over here. I go to different sectors and pop my shit. I've gone to his channel, his platform to confront him, and he's brought me up. So y'all got to understand that I don't do anything in vain. You see what I'm saying? Nothing's personal, y'all. Me and Anton have debated and argued and done all of that. I've come over there and clicked his link. I just don't tell y'all. You get what I'm saying? I just don't put y'all in my business like that. That's why he said, Queen, you know, we have a long history. Oh, yeah. Queen Sheba be out there messing with folks too in the manosphere. I just don't take y'all with me. I go out there by myself like a Roman lion because I don't want y'all to be exposed to that. I'm with the shits. I pop off. So actually, no, he can come over here because I've been over there, and it's just vice versa, y'all. It's okay. We don't always have to agree, but this platform is not just like a echo chamber. You know, we're not a one-trick pony, so y'all got to get used to it. That's why sometimes I don't bring stuff over here, because you got to be a little bit more open-minded to who I am. And I like to shake, rattle, and roll every now and then. You get what I'm saying? Sometimes I like to fight, and that's the part of me y'all don't know. Simone, you got a bad echo.
I'm sorry. I'm moving around, but I
Hold on. Okay, go ahead. Hold
want
on.
to send you some.
No, your echo is bad. Get your audio together, and I'm gonna bring you back.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, I am. But see, I be out. If anybody's pulling up over here from the manosphere, it's because I pulled up on them. I like to fight by myself. Even if I get injured, I'm gonna come back, I'm gonna heal, and then I'm gonna go back out there. But he's welcome over here, y'all. So don't be just thinking we talk about nice stuff or that Queen Sheba's just, swing low, sweet chariot. Because I'm not. I'm not. And then why would I be rude? There's no reason to be rude. He's strong. I mean, we don't need anybody to cower down to how we think they should deliver. Because when I go over there, I'm strong too. So y'all, we got to be a little bit more open, okay? All right, Simone Walton, welcome back.
Okay, what does it sound like now? Does it sound?
You sound really good. You sound good.
Okay, good. Sorry, I was doing some stuff around here.
They say Queen likes to argue. I do a lot. I do, but I don't really argue over here in the Love and Marriage Huntsville because they don't know how. Because you argue over here or hand somebody their ass over here and get down with that good old. They want to stalk you, threaten your life because they can't take that ass over. But I go over there and play. I love to go over there and play because when we're done, we're done. You get what I'm saying?
Yes, ma'am.
Anton's never stalked me. Anton's never threatened me. Anton's never sent anything to my house. So don't be worried about the wrong things. If you're concerned about the disrespect, we can look over here in the Love and Marriage Huntsville sector. And I said what I said. The manosphere has never violated me in any way. It's the average duds over here that y'all look at and y'all go over there and listen to them that's doing the most diabolical. And I'm not taking up for
Preach.
anybody, but sometimes it's the people right in front of you. But go ahead, Simone.
Preach. I have some info for on Brian McKnight that I want to share with you so you can help for your
Okay.
show tomorrow. But I'll give it to you behind
Give me
the
one
scenes.
second. Hold on, because
Okay.
Anton is in his bag. Thank you for your support of the channel, Anton. We appreciate you. Listen, you better get in your bag. That's all. Give me a second.
You better get to. You better get to the bed. Don't let them hoes stop your bed. If you got a problem, just know I'ma make you my man. Yeah. Get to the bed. Fuck what they talking about. Get to the bed.
Hey, get to the bag.
Don't worry about it.
Let's go, y'all. Hey,
Don't try it. You a hater. Yeah, you gotta get
to the bag,
y'all. Get to the bag.
Yeah. If more YouTubers will understand the power of having strong conversations, they can get to the bag quicker. But a lot of them are not equipped to even be up on here because as soon as somebody says something you don't like, you want to whoop their ass or dox them or fight them. Why? That's what the microphone is for. And may the best man or woman win. Thank you, Anton, for the $500 super sticker. We appreciate you coming by the palace and just blessing us and also summarizing your interview. Y'all, that's it. That's all. It's never personal. It's not supposed to be personal. And just like that, there you have it. Period. You get what I'm saying? The man paid for his time. He didn't have to do that, but we
Sure
appreciate
did.
it.
So he need to come back more often. $500. Shit. He need to come back more often. Tell him he's welcome anytime. No, I don't know. Are you still gonna say anything about Kandi? Hello? Can you hear me?
What were you wanting to bring about Brian McKnight?
Oh, it's a reason why he had to offer all those concessions to his wife after the marriage and all of that. So I'll let you, I'll give it to you behind the scenes so you
Okay,
can
yeah,
prepare
give it
for
to
your
me
show
behind the
tomorrow.
scenes so I can take a look at it and then kind of interject throughout the breakdown and the recap of the interview tomorrow.
All righty.
All right, thank you. I appreciate it, Simone. Thank you helping me with that research. All right, thank you so much, Anton. Thank you to the audience. Thank y'all. Thank you, everybody that came up today, all of the panelists, those of you that called in. I'm sorry, y'all, that we didn't completely cover Kandi, but you get the gist of it. She and Todd are no longer going to be married. I hate it. Wish they could work it out, but you know, I think Kandi's going with the notion she's going to protect her bag. We get into the bag over here in 2025 and 2026. And if you don't know now, you know. So we appreciate everybody. Thank you. I am unique for the 2-piece and the pepper. She said, I think you were talking to Anton or me. Probably Anton. You say you're definitely biased. Here's the thing about interviews that I don't think most people understand. When you conduct an interview or when you invite someone to your home, your platform, or your physical home, it is not your job to be the judge and or jury. You sit back, you relax, and you let them talk. Because you don't want to, after an interview, tear up the person that you interviewed. Nobody's going to trust you. And I'm just kind of giving y'all a little bit of a technicality of how this works. Imagine trashing somebody who just sat on your microphone. So a lot of times you're going to go out there, you're going to try to put out some positive things for people to walk away from, because other than that, you kind of mess with your credibility. Like, ooh, don't sit with her. She's a bitch. I sat with her. I opened up. I gave my experience in my marriage, and she goes back and she trashed me. So most times you're not going to see somebody trash a person that they just interviewed. And if they do, they're not a good facilitator. They're not a good interviewer. They're not a good content creator. They're not a good host. Got it? Now, we're going to go shake up things on TikTok and show out for Melody Cherie. I am giving away today $100 to Palace members that are up there. Let's go run it up. I'll see y'all right now on TikTok. Thank you again, everybody. We appreciate you all. $100 giveaway right now on TikTok. I'll see y'all in just a second.
Happy Shut Your Ass Up Saturday. You already know the assignment. Pretty simple. Keep the petty on high heat. And if somebody starts talking that silly shit, it's shut your ass up. Petty-luya.